Welcome back to Two Balls and a Mic, where we have a special midweek episode with a special guest. We've had it on before. You know him, you love him, Mr. Dave Williamson. Obviously, a hilarious past guest. How are you doing, Dave? You've been up to a lot in the last couple of months, couple of weeks. It's been a while. How are you, man?
Yeah, it's good to see you guys, man. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Hell yeah, man.
Always a pleasure, man.
It's been a weird and wacky trip. You know, you get to meet people along just different kind of adventures. Like, I don't know how, these, lines crossed the paths, but it ended up happening. And it's crazy because, I hopped on to Dave, pretty late. Obviously you'd been doing this for a while, comedy scene and everything. But I was part of the 17K boost because you wanted people to scroll up on Instagram stories. So I was one of those. I was like, all right. And I started, following you, and man, since then it's been a pretty fun ride as a viewer, man. How's it been for you, dude?
Yeah, I was trying to get to 10,000 followers on Instagram because then you get to do the swipe up feature back then. And now I'm at 45,000 on Instagram. So it's just crazy the past year and a half, how much I've learned after doing comedy for 20 years, you just learn so much and you hit these new thresholds and then it kind of avalanches, which is really cool. So, and you guys have been super supportive, man. Whenever I come to San Diego, you have me on the show, you come out to shows, you bring me smoked fish. You guys have become good friends.
I appreciate that. The best, honestly,
smoked
that
tuna, man.
It's opened so many doors, so many windows. It's one of those foods that, it's a delicacy to some. Some just can't
hard
stand
to
it.
beat.
100%.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I know it was funny because last time you came to the Civic Center here in San Diego, I apologies for the homeless population. We're working on it. San Diego's figuring itself out, but
please, man, I live in LA, dude. It's an issue everywhere right now, man.
69,000, it's crazy. I think the numbers came out recently. It's wild. But no, we're just standing there outside the tour bus with just a cooler of just smoked fish. We're just standing there, just people waiting for Bert to come out of the first show, and we were just standing there, and then to be let in, it was pretty conspicuous for what it actually was.
It was a hell of a show too.
No, it's a hell of a show, dude. If ever again, Dave, I'm off the top. Tell us you're going to be here this weekend in San Diego.
Yeah, I was there with Bert the time you're talking about. And luckily I've been able to come to San Diego a lot the past couple of years, either with Bert or doing my own shows. And this weekend I'm there headlining the Mic Drop Comedy Club, which is a brand new club. Used to be formerly the Comedy Palace, and then new ownership has come in and totally renovated it, made it beautiful. And I'm super excited to see it. I'm there just on Saturday, but 2 shows. That's this Saturday. And you guys know how we've talked about this before, how I love combining multiple passions, right? So I love barbecue. I love water polo. And one of the previous times I've been in San Diego, I was doing my barbecue tour where I was doing comedy in barbecue restaurants. I teamed up with Cali Barbecue there. And this time it's the other passion. I'm going to be there coaching water polo at one of the big high school water polo tournaments that happens in San Diego. So I'm bringing my team from El Segundo down there. We're going to play Friday, Saturday, and then they're heading home on the bus, and I'm sticking around and headlining Mic Drop Comedy Club on Saturday night.
Hell yeah. So get out there. It's a great time, Dave. Every time that you hit the stage, it's a professional, and that's something that I love. People being great at something, and you are phenomenal at what you do. But I think Segundo Polo Instagram follows us. I think it's one of the follows. It's just having. I was like, who? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Guess who runs that Instagram account, guys?
I know you have somebody. Just real quick on water polo. Somebody that we met at Cali Comfort, Santi Pierce. I know.
He's the
doing
man,
some
dude.
Great stuff. Check him out. I think Prince Santi or something on Instagram. I think let me pull it up if I can. But that dude is doing some great things. Water polo. I forget what country he's doing.
Ghana, I believe.
Yeah.
So he started water polo in the country of Ghana in Africa, and they'd never been exposed to the sport before, so that's where his roots are from, and he went back there and introduced them to it. And he's also an MC. He does he has a bunch of there he is, man. He's a San Diego boy too. He went to college down there at I think it's Cal Lutheran or something like that. But yeah, very cool guy. And we all hung out after my show down there.
Yeah, so actually we ran into the head honcho at of Cali Comfort Barbecue.
Yeah, Sean.
The boy Sean, shout out Sean. Because we were into that soccer game that just happened down here. We're 32,000 sold out in the new
San Diego
Snapdragon.
Wave, the women's soccer team here in San Diego.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and we ran into him, and that's a serious dude. That's an intense dude. Like, he was like, hey.
It is very rare when I see the fear in Tony's eyes. He was making eye contact with someone. And after we're done talking, I was like,
that's scary, dude.
That's one intimidating dude.
That's scary, dude. He was very positive about his message. He was like, hey, like, you need to get sponsored. You need to start making this. Like, I talked to you
next time I see you, you better be sponsored.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we're like, oh, that's a great point. Yeah. We should. Yeah. So shout out.
Yeah, he's super into the digital side of everything, really. I mean, he's attacking the digital side of barbecue, So yeah, he really believes in content and putting your message out there.
And a great stop at Snapdragon Stadium. I mean, Dave, if you ever want to watch women's soccer professionally, some of the best in the world, to be completely honest. Like, again, I like seeing and enjoy seeing people who are great at their craft, and it is what it is. They're just the best damn players in the world that we have here.
That's the San Diego Loyal team, right?
So
that's the men's team?
That's the men's team with Landon Donovan.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So what's the women's team?
San Diego Wave, they have players like Alex Morgan, Alex Morgan.
Are they playing this weekend?
They're not playing this weekend.
They're away.
Oh.
Yeah, they have an away game.
I would take my whole team to a game if I looked into the Loyal. I looked it up, looked at the schedule, but they're away too.
They're away as well, yeah.
They're away too, but they might be having some playoffs coming up, so it's just a quick drive down, and it's a cool atmosphere. I know you guys got LA Galaxy up there. I mean, I know your young ones are into soccer, still playing it. Do they still enjoy it, or is it
something else now?
Or is it a chore at this point?
No, man. My oldest son is super into soccer still. He plays on club and at the high school, and then now he plays water polo on the team as well. So it's really cool. I get to coach my own son. He's a sophomore. He just loves water polo and soccer. So I've been coaching other people's kids for 20 years. So it's really cool to coach my own kid.
Man, that's always been a dream of my dad to just be my coach for something.
Yeah.
Never happened.
Well, and dude, being an assistant coach is the best because you're like the fun uncle. Like you get to play like you could be the disciplinarian, or you could just be the guy who, I cook barbecue and bring it for after, or, I get to do whatever needs to be done. You don't have to, the head coach, man, that's hard work. Yeah. You got to do all the administrative stuff. You got to be at every single practice, but the head coach gets to go perform on the road for a week and do Red Rocks and then pop back in and be like, hey, now I get the coach.
Man, that's the dream right there.
I mean, talk about, something on the side to do, right? Let's just go perform at Red Rocks where you were just last week, man. Like, again, some of this resume that you've been building up in this last year is just really fun to do, right? You did the fully loaded tour. You've been opening for Bert. For as long, I think it's the barbecue, right? Like, do you really just attribute everything to that barbecue, to that touch and the comedy, or, what is it more of percentage wise?
I'd like to think that Bert likes to have me along because I'm a good comic and I'm a good hang. And, I always, anything I've ever done in life, whether it was back way in the day when I was in the car business, to when I coached, to when I've been doing comedy, is you want to be someone who makes life easier on other people. Right. So, when I was, an MC at the Improvs in South Florida, there was 1,000 guys who would die to be the MC there and could fill those roles, be funny. But, I'd go out and actually help bust tables and would be like, I wouldn't make the manager's job harder. I would try to make it easier, And so, hopefully those are a lot of the same reasons why a dude like Bert likes having me around. I'm funny, I work hard, I'm a good hang, and that's all you can do and is when you're hustling at anything, right? So a lot of cool opportunities have come from that. I'm super lucky. The big guy right here has invited me to come along on a lot of really cool things the past couple of years, and it inspires me, man. Being around him and seeing all his success just inspires me to work hard in what I'm doing and to headline bigger and better shows and get to do cool things like I'm going to do this weekend down in San Diego and headline a brand new comedy club.
I think I had heard about this coming down, and it's really exciting because San Diego's a sleepy town for most things. We lost the Chargers, and that's half thanks to this lackadaisical town that we live in. But I mean, it's a good comedy town. Like, good stuff has come out of San Diego recently. In the past, I mean, going back, Bobby Lee and stuff. Like, we got traitors like Mario Lopez who just dishonor the crown of San Diego, calling themselves the Dodger fan. Like, but in general, like, San Diego's a funny town. Like,
yeah, hey, Padres are good these days, right?
Yes, they are.
San Diego's got a great comedy scene, man. You guys have multiple comedy clubs, and they're all pretty great. They fit different niches. I'd say some are small, some are big, some are mainstream, some are like for the locals. But no, San Diego's got a great comedy scene, man. And it's cool because since San Diego, it might be a small city, but it's spread out kind of. So, you could work multiple clubs and it's different fan bases.
Yeah, last time I saw you, I think we were in Escondido. I've never been to Escondido other than to
that's a great club too, man. Grand comedy club. But it's been really fun, man. Like, I just got to headline this club in Phoenix for the first time, and I got to headline the Chicago Improv. So I've been getting a lot of bigger opportunities lately, thanks to a lot of the stuff going on in my career. And what's been cool is finding different ways to incorporate the barbecue into the comedy shows. So like when I was in Phoenix, I sell my own dry rub. I think I have one here. Yeah, here's one. So like I sell my own dry rub on my website, DaveWilliamson.com.
I ran out of mine, Dave.
Like I'll bring you a new one this weekend. But they made a spicy margarita and they put this on the rim, and they did that with like 2 or 3 different cocktails. They made specialty cocktails using my rub, which was really cool. And then I also like to borrow smokers when I go into town and cook for the staff, or maybe do something on the menu with the comedy club. So when I was in Phoenix, I did a brisket and a bunch of pork butts to do pulled pork nachos.
Nice.
And this drunk lady walked around. She got kicked out of the show. She walked around where the loading dock was and found the smoker I was using. And I wouldn't have even noticed or cared if she took any of the multiple pork butts I had. But this lady stole my brisket and got in an Uber and went home with it.
What? No.
Just a 12-pound piece of meat in her lap.
Crime.
Heading home in an Uber.
I mean, talk about a high compliment though. Like that's as good as it gets, right? Like this is.
No, I'd be pissed.
I'd be pissed too, but I mean, compliments to you.
I was pretty upset. I want the footage. I keep texting the club being like, dude, you got to check that footage. If I get the security camera footage of this woman stealing my brisket, it'll all be worth it.
Oh man. No, but that is a really good rub. Like I cook steaks over and over and over, and it kept getting better. I don't know if it was me, I don't know if it was the rub, but like
it's probably the rub.
It's probably the rub.
It's practice, man, just like anything in life. If more you practice, the better you get at it, man. That's all it is.
I've gone down to science. Like, and I like thermometers and stuff, but like for my steaks, I've gotten it down to just by ear, time, feel. It's like it's some Gordon Ramsay shit going on. Like I'm really enjoying my time there.
Cooking, especially meat, barbecue or cooking a steak or whatever, it's equal parts science where you follow the internal temperature, you follow the the instructions, but it also takes a little bit of art. So it's equal parts science and art where you got to have a feel for it, man. If you're too robotic and just looking at numbers, you're not gonna get the best product. You got to have a little bit of that feel, man. You know, and that just comes with practice. Anyone could paint by numbers and read the instructions and put together an IKEA desk, but if you can follow those instructions, but at the same time freestyle a little bit, that's when you get your best product.
And that's where you have people like me that just enjoy the product.
Pinch of this, pinch of that, you know, a little flip it at the right time.
God bless you guys that love to cook steaks and meat, because there's people like me that just enjoy the product, and I don't see myself doing it.
Yeah, no,
I'll fuck it up somehow.
Yeah, no, you definitely would. Like, it takes some tact. Like, you got to be at least a little, you know, anybody can learn. Yeah. But, you know, some take longer than others.
Especially a steak, bro. A steak's not that hard, man.
Yeah, a steak. I mean, my carnita asada, you know, Mexican, just carnita asada, get it done.
Yeah, carne asada is something else. Yeah. Like, that's just as simple as it gets. But, yeah, so you've been, you know, everywhere across the country. Like, have you been able to catch up with some, you know, sports now? Again, we've been going through the pandemic together, Dave, and there was no sports. There was some sports. Now there's sports. Everything's fine. Like, what would have been your highlights in this last year, just in sports-wise and viewing in general? Hanging out with
I mean, I'm super stoked for football season this year. And both my college teams have already let me down. They both lost. You know, I root for the Miami Hurricanes because I grew up there, and I went to Auburn, so I root for the Auburn Tigers. Both dropped L's this past weekend. But on the flip side, my hometown Miami Dolphins are finally exciting. And I knew, looking on paper, we looked good, but sometimes that doesn't always translate to being good. But I knew, if nothing else, we were going to be fun this year. And if the first 2 weeks have proven anything, we are fun. We got so much speed. We have a fun scheme. We already had a good defense. So I am so stoked. I'm so stoked for football season this year that I, amidst this heat wave, built a wall in my front yard. I've been thinking about it for years, and finally my neighbor offered me a TV. He goes, "Hey man, my father-in-law is moving and he's got this big screen TV." And someone else offered me a TV at the same time. So I go, "That's it. That's my sign to build the wall." It's like, if you build it, they will come. So that's the before picture of my fire pit area. I hang out there a lot. That's as I started building it. And then now I have a full-blown wall. And I even put up a second TV since that photo. I got a second TV up there now off the side. Yeah, I built that for about $150 just with lumber I had. I painted the roof dolphin blue. And, dude, I just live in my front yard now. It's like having an extra bed room in my house. I just sit out there and fire up the fire pit, and I watch the Sports Center, and then watch House of Dragons or whatever. And that's it. I live in my front yard. I already spent all my time in my front yard anyways, because all my smokers are out there. So now I'm out now. I never have to come inside.
That's more space for your family inside. So I think they at some point are like, "Hey, you know, this is pretty nice, Dad. Chill."
Where's
outside.
Dad? He hasn't come inside in days.
Did everything survive? I know, like, you built it the weekend that it just started to rain. Like, everything was A-okay, just survived?
Yeah, it was fine. I bought a cover for the TV off of Amazon, and I don't think it really rained that much here anyways. It was fine. It held up. Yeah, I built that thing, and then all of a sudden you're seeing these headlines that a hurricane was coming as close to California as it has in 25. I was on course. But luckily it didn't really affect us.
Speaking of Amazon, Dave, since we've spoken, you made it onto a Amazon commercial that was pretty prominent.
Oh,
like,
yeah, man.
Like, how does, like, again, inside baseball, but like, how does that happen? How does that go down? Like, you know,
I think, well, I went to an audition, and I actually think that, I don't think I booked it. I think the person who booked it got COVID, and because they called me really last minute. We're like, "Hey, you booked this, head down to, you know, the set and take a COVID test." So I went down there and took the COVID test and passed. And yeah, I got to pet a cat, and I think it was the mustache too. I think the mustache is what booked it for me.
I mean, that has to be a highlight, right? Like, just being part of the pageantry of football, in a sense, in in commercial form. That was I popped for that. Like I
yeah, because they debuted it during the NFL playoffs.
yeah,
And it was a Christmas commercial. So I was wearing a really thick sweater, but we actually filmed it last summer during a heat wave. So it was like, and they had to turn all the air conditionings off when they start filming because of the sound, you know? So I'm just sitting there holding this cat, just sweating. I mean, it was gross, but you can't tell on film. But that was a lot of fun. Yeah. And when it came on morning during like the Mason parade or whatever on Thanksgiving, and nobody really noticed. And then that night though, it was on during Thursday night football. That's what it was. It was Thanksgiving football. My phone just blew up. Everyone was like, "Was that you?" I was like, "It was me." Yeah, there it is.
Glorious mustache. Difficult to work with cats, with animals.
Or you can actually see the video of it. So that cat, I don't know if you guys watch The Voice, but that's CeeLo Green's cat from The Voice.
Oh shoot. That's right.
Yeah, well, there was like 7 dogs. So the cat was easier to work with than the dogs, actually. I think the dogs kept walking away and not doing what they were supposed to do, which was pretty funny.
Those cats probably get paid more than you and I.
Probably, yeah. Sure. I kept thinking that. I kept going, these animals will probably be making more money than me today. And I'm sweating my balls off on the sweater.
We'll talk a little bit more Dolphins right now, but fantasy football are you still in a couple leagues? How many leagues are you in? Where are you at with that?
So I'm in one league that's playing 2 leagues. What happened was we were signed up on the NFL app, and we decided to switch it last minute and go to ESPN. So we went to ESPN. We did our live draft, right? It's all a bunch of comedians in LA. So we did our draft, and then we realized that the other had an auto draft for us. So we've decided to play both leagues to see who will win the auto draft league and who will win the league that we drafted ourselves. The same players, both leagues, but different teams. You know, same owners each league. So that's been kind of fun. I went 2-0 in the first week and 0-2 in the second week. Although my team, I would have beaten everybody in my league except for the guy I was playing. My team blew up, but the other guy's team just blew up a little bit more. Like I had Tyreek Hill and he had Waddle. It was like that, you know. I had Herbert, but he had Jalen Hurts, you know. And I'm like, damn, dude, just edged me out with every position.
Jesus Christ. I mean, Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, I think we have them in the same.
Yeah.
We have a league with our show, and I think we have both of them on the same team.
No. We have Waddle in that one.
Oh, okay.
I have Tyreek Hill in a different league, and let me tell you, he's won me this week for sure.
We were worried for a bit there, just because Tua's arm
going
strength.
Into the fourth quarter, he was 3 receptions, like 30-something yards.
But it's all the scheme, dude. Mike McDaniel's like getting them into spaces, man. It's just a matter of time before he breaks down these teams, you know. They're gonna have an opportunity to blow up every game.
And McDaniels is just something else. Like that dude just thinks of things differently. Like
I like him. Man. I was upset when they let go of Flores. I was like, you guys better make a good hire to make this Flores thing feel okay. And when they hired him and I heard him talk, I'm like, I like this guy.
Yeah, so it was Tyreek Hill in that press conference after week 1 saying like the balls in this guy.
Just fuck.
Like and they went out and spent money to get players in the right positions, man. You know, they went out and got Armstead on the offensive line. He was the best guy available. They went out and got Tyreek. You know, they got Chase Edmonds and Mostert there for speedy backs. Like they got dudes to fit this guy's system that will allow Tua to be successful.
And Tua's looking good.
Yeah.
Tua's going to be fine. Tua's always been fine. Just you can't say healthy. But anytime he's been healthy, you know, they weren't really opening the playbook up for him, but it's not because he can't throw the ball. It's just that they weren't ready to do that yet. You know, they didn't have that vision yet, but he's going to be fine.
So
it's not like we drafted him like at a look, we drafted Ryan Tannehill, who was a wide receiver in college. I feel a lot more comfortable with Tua, who is a national champion, 5-star recruit his whole life. You know, he's going to be fine.
I was watching a video of Tua actually with mirrored footage of what he would look like if he was right-handed. Yeah. And so like he has a gorgeous motion, and he can throw that ball very well. And I think it might be the fact that he's left-handed that people just don't understand it. But if you mirror it, you'd think like, wow, that throwing motion is amazing, and just the ease where he just whips it down, and to have those weapons downfield with Tyreek. I mean, fuck, Gesicki is
Yeah,
is
I don't know
really,
about that.
really, really
I
good.
don't know about that gritty, that celebration though.
Yeah, I need some work. He was funny about it though. He was busting his own balls the next day.
This Dolphins team is just looking very, very dominant. At least this first 2 weeks. I mean, that comeback.
I love it.
That comeback was impressive. I mean, we both had the Dolphins beating the Ravens.
Yeah, and it's been a long time coming. People are talking all this Bills because I mean they're scary, to be completely honest. And so
they're looking like something else.
it's going to be a showdown.
Look, man, the Bills and the Dolphins play each other this weekend, so we're going to learn a lot about both teams.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry to say, but I think that the Bills have the edge on.
Yeah, they should. They've been together for a few years, man. You know, they've really been building this thing. And dude, I'll tell you, I grew up hating the Bills because Dolphins and Bills were bitter rivals in the 90s, you know, always, bad blood, really, fierce rivalry. We would, both teams would win a lot, you know. But with that said, man, I really like this Bills team. They're super fun, man. So, you know, of course I want the Dolphins to win, but I'm enjoying the Bills' success. And plus their fan base just suffered for so long. Like that makes you feel a little better about it.
I mean, I knew of suffering with the San Diego Chargers, but that's no longer a team. So I can't root for a team that no longer exists. So since then I've become an Eagle fan, and it's been pretty fun. I was bitter at the time, and it just made sense. It was the right choice at the time.
So you can't bring yourself to root for the Los Angeles Chargers. It's
absolutely not. I mean, when they went up, it was
careful,
still
be
Phillip
careful
Rivers.
With those words, man. He's still sensitive about it.
It was still Philly Riv up there, Felipe Rios, and then I guess Melvin Gordon was kind of the attachment because he was a San Diego Charger, but slowly they just started leaving. Antonio Gates retiring as a Los Angeles Charger was painful.
Keenan Allen's still there?
I guess, yeah, Keenan Allen. But other than that, I just have no attachment to this team. It sucks seeing such a great quarterback and such a good kid.
Yeah, you know, you
Justin
got to
Herbert
meet
up
Sean
there.
Merriman.
We got to meet Sean Merriman at a signing, and he was a good dude. He was a really good dude. We dared not to ask about Tila Tequila, but you know, we were close to.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he wants to forget about that too.
We just Mentateo documentary, and that was wild. There's so much stuff I didn't know about. So I watched it. I feel bad for the kid.
Yeah, so in the local radio station, you have a couple of former Chargers just around, and like they admitted to it. I mean, what do you want? It's a locker room back in the early 2000s. Nobody really heard about this whole phishing thing, and it was easy just to haze, and some terrible things were said to the dude. But I mean, fuck. I mean, I was like 13. I knew not to believe online things like that, but I don't know. It was weird. Like, good on him, I guess. Good on him. But
I mean, seems like he's happy now. Seems like he found forgiveness, and what else can you do? Yeah,
no, it's just a wild story. Good football player. One of those drafts that because we were drafting people like Larry English.
You never been
like
catfished?
I've never been catfished. Have you been catfished for anything, Dave? Maybe even on OfferUp?
Not that I've fallen for. I certainly get enough messages. And I just read some of them and I'm like, who falls for this? But I mean, somebody must if they throw them out there,
Yeah.
Are you still in a fantasy football league with Adam Rank?
So it's the same league, but Adam Rank left the league. But yeah, he got me good last year. He was super busy and left like last minute, like 2 guys were deactivated. He had left them in the lineup, and he still beat me because he had Derrick Henry, I think, blew up, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, hit the volume on that.
Williamson on the strength of having Kareem Hunt in my flex.
Oh, Kareem Hunt.
Carolina Panthers DST, and also I'm just good at fantasy football. So here's to you. Thank you so much for this. Raising our glasses. This goes out to the Carolina Panthers defense and special teams, and of course Kareem Hunt as well, because in a league that I play in with some LA comics, I started accidentally Dalvin Cook and Josh Jacobs and still beat Dave Williamson on the strength of having Kareem Hunt in my flex. Carolina Panthers DST, and also I'm just good at fantasy football.
Having your fantasy laundry out there in such a way, what is that like?
On worldwide TV, I get called out. And then I'll tell you what, when I played him again later in the year, I beat him and he didn't say anything on TV then.
Of course not. You never talk about your losses.
Oh,
but that was pretty cool. I didn't even see it live. Like one of my buddies was just watching it and heard him call me out and like filmed it and sent it to me. And I was like, oh man.
I'm guilty of that. Sometimes I'll be listening, consume a lot of podcasts, and I'll hear Tom Segura be like, oh, great barbecue, Dave Williamson. I'll just throw it up. Hey, look. But like how that happens often now, like it just that's the thing, right? Like just you are stuff of legends in the barbecue community at this point. Like
yeah, I've definitely built a reputation, man. I'm trying my hardest to sell a TV show here, but it's really cool that it's given me an identity. It's and barbecue. Look, man, the reason why I love it is because it makes people happy, you know. So it's just fun that it's serving its purpose in my mind, where it's making, memories for people, and people are enjoying it when they get to eat my barbecue enough that they bring it up and talk about it. So, it's a really cool thing. And yeah, Tom Segura, when we were coming through Austin, we didn't have a show. Bert was just going there to podcast, do the Two Bears podcast. So I said, hey man, look, I'm in town. I go, why don't I just cook for you guys and treat your crew? Because they have a bunch of crew guys that work on the podcast. So I went and spent the night out in the parking lot, drinking whiskey and cooking and treating those guys. And, I went on Jim Jeffries' podcast to cook for them.
Yep.
And I brought some down to the Comedy Store a couple months ago and fed their whole staff as a thank you, for working hard. So, and people are blown away when you do that. So now that I'm in town, I'm going to try to do it a little bit more often. I'm going to go back down to the local clubs and drop barbecue off.
Are you in your barbecue prime?
I think I'm just, I'm in its infancy, man. I mean, I look at some of the posts when I first started like 6 years ago, and I'm like, I can't believe how dumb I was. Like I posted this like pictures, like I was so proud of this brisket, and I look at it now and I go, oh my God, I butchered that. That looks terrible. Right. So I think I have a lot left to learn, man. I've dove into it so heavy that, it feels like I've been doing this for a long time, but I really haven't. I think I got a lot left to learn.
That's like kind of like everything, right? We looked at old episodes and we're like, oh geez, we thought this was a good episode.
He told me not to mention this, but like if you watch old episodes, like
no, stop.
This man just transformed into a new person. Like this dude lost the whole dude. Like this dude, he's like
lost weight
now. Like it's something else, and it took a lot of hard work. Took a lot of. He cheated, Dave. He had the surgery.
Oh, that's all right, man. Sometimes you gotta get a little help like that to make it happen. But trust me, I know a lot of those people that have the surgery and then they still don't have the discipline to lose the weight or keep it off.
Calls it cheating. I called it an ultimatum in my life.
And no, it was great. It's just a witness and just witness somebody survive off of half a taco. Like it's just impressive to know that that's possible.
That's not how it works. That's not how it works at
all. But no, it's real good to see that you're able to bring this all together. Do you like go out and about? Is that how you're just kind of honing those skills? You try other people's barbecue, watch Chef's Table, the barbecue edition.
It's just like I tell the kids that I coach, like in sports, in everything in life, you got to be coachable. So I just had no ego with it. I just was, hungry to learn, no pun intended. So I asked a lot of questions. I got, and then I started the podcast. I made it even easier because the podcast wasn't about me being a barbecue expert. The podcast was about me wanting to learn about it to be a barbecue expert. So I'd go places and I'd ask questions and I'd pick their brain and I'd practice a lot too. I just failed a ton the first, couple of years of doing it. And, but I always made sure I cooked 2 or 3 times a week, practicing. And, just, you start to things, you don't have to look at the paper anymore. I kept a journal. I call it my meat journal. And I would just keep notes, of every time I cooked and what worked, what didn't work. And then you get to a point where you don't need to write it down anymore. You kind of remember. Sorry, I had the hiccups talking about all this food. So yeah, you just got to dive into it, man. And now, I had a big gravity fed smoker and I sold it and I bought this really cool offset smoker from SG Metalworks. He custom welded it for me. And so, now it's like I haven't got a chance to practice a lot on it. So it's like that's going to be a new skill, is learning how to do fire management in a true offset smoker and get good at a new challenge,
That's amazing. And then you mentioned the podcast and you've been venturing into this podcast world. You also have the new one called The Merman, right? Tell us a little bit about that one.
Yeah, dude, I'm up to my eyebrows in podcasts now. So I've had the Meet Dave podcast, which is the barbecue podcast, for a while now. I have the Tony Azevedo podcast with Tony Azevedo, who's the Michael Jordan of USA water polo. And we're going to relaunch that here pretty soon. We've been on a hiatus. But then my buddy Forrest Shaw, who's one of my oldest friends in comedy, one of my best friends from Miami, he opens for Jim Jeffries all the time. And he's a co-host on Jim Jeffries' podcast called I Don't Know About That. So he and I just wanted an excuse to see each other more often. And, we always have fun busting each other's balls and talking about stuff. So I was like, man, why don't we start a podcast and really do it right, really make, invest in a good producer and, and have some fun with it. And we're 5 episodes deep, man. And I got to tell you, it's been a blast.
Yeah, no, if you if you do it, you got to do it right. And once you got it on a certain level, it's just cruise control from there. And you guys seem to be having a lot of fun on there. And that's what it's all about. I mean, Chiva here and I, we've been doing this for 138 weeks in a row, no skips, no anything. So
that's incredible. The consistency is the biggest part.
Yeah, really. How many people have we known here in San Diego that start podcasts and then they get a little bit of hype and then after a couple months they just stop dropping episodes?
It takes some, I don't know how we've been able to manage it. I was up in a cabin for 2 weeks up in the woods and we're still able to make it, but
I've gotten COVID twice and
I still haven't gotten COVID. I don't know. I don't know what to believe at this point. It doesn't seem fun. Have you had your run in with it, Dave?
I got the Omicron in January, and I would have never known except for my kid tested to go back to school and he popped positive. And so then our whole family tested and, basically we all had it. But I would have never known. I had 0 symptoms, felt fine the whole time, no problems.
Yeah, I feel like if you ever get it, it's going to kick your ass.
No, that's why I'm
dang.
I went back to the first dose and said, give me that again. Let's run it back. It worked the first time. But no, that's something that, hopefully I never have to do. This year is a World Cup. Do you know that, Dave? It's a World Cup year.
Of course. Is this the one in Qatar?
Yes,
sir.
Yes.
Wow, already.
That is
crazy.
correct.
Starts up in November.
It's the first World Cup that's happening in Christmas time, around December, in the winter time. They're always in the summer, but turns out you cannot play soccer in the desert of Qatar in 120-something degree heat, turns out. So,
well, guess where I'm going to be watching those games?
Where are you going to be?
His front yard, my man.
My front yard, dude.
Damn right.
Yes, sir.
I might have a third TV by then.
So are you Team USA for this World Cup?
Do you have a team?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, yeah,
of
Team
course.
USA.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Second team Mexico?
I mean, maybe there's a Cinderella story that you get attached to because, I'm my grandpa's Italian, so the Italy's got to get, maybe you find but I mean, as far as being a fan, I mean, it's just Team USA.
I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but Italy did not qualify to this World Cup.
Oh, too bad. I'll tell my grandpa.
It was actually very...
It's like
he'll
so
get mad if you mention
the
it, probably.
equivalent of like the Queen dying and sorrow in England is the amount of anger that's happening in Italy
The
for
way
missing
it
the World
happened,
Cup.
it was like came down to one game against North Macedonia.
North Macedonia like is a country.
Oh,
apparently.
powerhouse.
Yeah,
Exactly. Talk about a Cinderella team. And
That's cool
they-
though, man. It's cool that you get some you know, if it was just given, then it wouldn't be special when you make it, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah. You got to grind to make the World Cup, and that's why it's the best 32 teams out there in the world.
Nice. How's USA gonna do?
I hope they don't do good, to be honest.
their uniforms are terrible, but I mean, if we're talking strictly on play, I think they got a
They're
really
better than
young
Mexico
squad.
right
They're
now.
better than Mexico, but we're the only Mexicans that admit to stuff like this. But it's painful to admit that the U.S. should probably do better than Mexico. They'll get maybe Sweet 16 at best.
Canada could surprise people.
Canada's
which
pretty
is
cool. Like they figured out to drop the sticks and play
Drop
hockey
the
with their
sticks.
feet during the spring when the ice melts.
But yeah, no, the U.S., I think they have a very solid team. It's a group of young players that are playing very well together, a lot of them playing in big clubs in Europe. But I think what the U.S. fans are expecting is a big impact in the 2026 World Cup here in the U.S. That's where a lot of people are looking for and saying the U.S. could win the World Cup. And I'm sorry, but if the U.S. win a World Cup before Mexico, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life.
Yeah, no, it's not gonna. I will deport myself.
Deport myself.
Yeah, I mean, look, dude, that's like when you look at the NFL and you're like, 20 years ago, I was like, oh, the Dolphins will be back in the mix. And then all of a sudden, here we are 20 years later, and you're like, the Bengals made it to a Super Bowl before the Dolphins did, It's
Yeah.
like, dude, even the Patriots were terrible when I was a kid.
Yeah,
They were a joke of a franchise. And then, it's just like you get a little bit of the right infrastructure and all of a sudden they're a dynasty. It's just, you never know.
Did you enjoy as much as it seems like SoFi Stadium down like in that VIP area? Because Jesus, did you see where Dave was? Yeah,
I saw. I was jealous.
You're a Rams fan,
yeah,
so
I was very jealous.
you get the nosebleeds of the nosebleeds. But tell me about that experience down there.
SoFi is just awesome, man. So yeah, the Bert had purchased a whole box, but it's not the traditional boxes up high. They have those too, but they made these like dugout boxes. So you're like in a dugout behind the bench. So you're seeing everything and you're hearing and you're feeling the energy of everything going on the Rams bench. It's a little hard to see the game from there because you got to look through people, but the Jumbotron is so big and there's a bunch of TVs in the box. So you're getting cocktails, you're eating food, you're watching the game on the screens, but then you're feeling the energy off the team being 5 feet away from you, It was tremendous. SoFi Stadium in general is bonkers. And I know there's been a lot of new stadiums and, every year somebody outdoes the next person and the Dallas Cowboys have this big Jumbotron or whatever. But I'm telling you, to just the gravity of the size and the just how awestruck you are walking into SoFi Stadium. I mean, it's bonkers. And we were playing the Cardinals. This is last season. The Rams were playing the Cardinals, and Kyler Murray came over and said hi to the guys in the booth next to us. So if this tells you the state of the world these days, there were 3 boxes down there that were these dugout boxes, and it wasn't financial guys. It wasn't, big CEOs of companies. It was a comedian. It was gamers, and it was a rapper. Those are the people who had those big expensive boxes down there. So that's where we're at in the world today. Is that's who's making the bucks to get boxes like that, which is pretty cool to me. But Kyler Murray's my son's favorite player, and he came over to say hi to the gamers that were in the booth next to us. And so my son got to take a really cool picture with Kyler Murray right here, that was really neat.
That's awesome.
It's probably fake.
But I just bought tickets. The Dolphins are playing the Chargers in December, and I scored some pretty decent tickets. I was watching StubHub for weeks, and I scored 4 really good seats to go bring my family to see the Dolphins in December.
Nice. Yeah, now SoFi is honestly You've never.
I
been
haven't
there,
gone.
so
I haven't
it's
been to it.
So
Like,
impressive. That screen is just impressive because it doesn't matter where you're sitting, you have a good view of it. Have you been to Alliance Arena in Vegas, Raider Stadium?
No.
That stadium.
Is that That's the Raiders?
It's the Raiders Stadium. I hate to say it, but it's a lot more impressive than SoFi.
oh wow,
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't think it was as big though. It's not big, right? Because
it's huge.
really,
What is it?
so I mean, there's so many more people in LA than in Las Vegas.
SoFi sits like 70 something. I think this one sits like high 70s too. I mean, I went for a soccer game in that one, and man, I mean, there's a casino inside the stadium. Like, it's wild how impressive. Like, how many? 75,000. SoFi probably sits around the same thing.
I'm about to check it out.
oh wow.
Yeah, no, this stadium is massive. Got slot machines anywhere like you walk by.
Yeah, like you don't spend enough money at sporting events.
I mean, I personally love Vegas and I love gambling, so saw a stadium where I got to watch soccer and still gamble on the side. That's, I mean,
yeah, there's a sports book in the stadium. That would be dope.
I mean, probably they didn't even get to go look all around, but there probably is. Man.
I'm actually going to Vegas for the first time as an adult, like in a couple of
really?
weeks. Yeah, like I went when I was 8 and loved Circus Circus, but I was looking at reservations for Circus Circus, and now I realize what Circus Circus is, and it's disgusting.
I don't want to go there.
Have you gone and done the Vegas experience, Dave? Have you?
Oh yeah, man, I've done it a bunch because there's so many gigs there. So I've been there for work so many times, and I have done the Vegas experience every way you could do it. I've been there as a kid myself. I've been there with my kids. I've been there with buddies and going out partying. I've been there for comedy festivals. I've been there for comedy gigs. I've been there and just dropped silly money on playing craps. I've been there when I was methodical and took my time at playing craps, and put a plan in place. I've done Vegas every way you could do it.
Wow. Times that I've gone to Vegas, I've made more money than what I've gotten there with and paid for my trip. So I love Vegas. I love playing poker at the Bellagio. It's one of my favorite things to do.
So craps, poker, blackjack.
I love blackjack.
Is that like?
I love blackjack.
Is that,
Look, my hands
okay?
twitching, dude. It's a problem.
Yeah, craps and blackjack are the funnest games
I can't
for me.
do craps. I always hit the one number nobody wants to hit, and I always hit that shit. Never.
Hey, it's just like everything else. Like I said, practice.
You gotta roll the dice better. Yeah, no. Texas Hold'em poker for me is just cream of the crop. Just love playing at the Bellagio. It has one of the best poker rooms. The Aria's dope as well.
Well, I'm gonna be visiting the M&M store, and
it's just as impressive as everything else.
Avoiding.
There's a Shake Shack over there. Hit up Shake Shack. Get yourself a burger. Go see a nice show. The Absinthe is one of my favorite shows. That's a real fun one. I mean, over there. There's a lot of great food in Vegas. You'll have a blast if you do it right.
All right, yeah. I'll try to survive. The heat is the thing that's gonna kill me. Like I'm just.
It was just that bad here. Like last week.
It was. The heat wave because
you'll be fine.
All around California, it was terrible.
Vegas, it's so dry. So doing comedy shows, most of the comedy runs in Vegas are a whole week, right? Yeah. So the air is so dry. You got to be careful because by the second or third night, your voice will be gone. So whenever you do the comedy gigs there, you just got to really make sure you're not yelling in the casino. You got to really take care of your voice and make it last 7 days of doing shows.
It's like a pop star, man. Just
no, that 100%. Like, that's
Shakira,
the money
Shakira.
maker. That's a nice shirt. But your voice is prepped and ready, Dave, for this weekend.
I'm ready, man. I'm excited. 2 shows Saturday, early show, late show. Mic Drop Comedy Club, brand new club, fully renovated. Excited to see it. Maybe there'll be some barbecue involved. We'll find out.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome, Dave. Really appreciate you. Make sure you check that out at Dave Williamson, Dave W Comedy on Instagram. Check out everything else. Where else can good people find you, Dave?
Well, my Instagram is Dave W Comedy. My website is davewilliamson.com. And you can buy my rub there. You can buy my past albums there. You can check out my full schedule there. I'm also going to be coming to Nashville, Bakersfield, California. I got some Florida dates coming up. I got some more dates with Bert down the road as well. And then, this weekend, I'd really love to get a lot of people out to see this new club. So hopefully people have, some disposable income to buy tickets and come have a good time. But if money's an issue for you, please message me and I'll see what I can do to get you a discount code. If anybody is a listener of your show, just tell them to message me to mention Two Balls and a Mic, and then I'll know that they heard it on here, and I'll see what I can do to hook them up with a deal, because I just want to get a bunch of people out there and have a fun time this weekend.
Hell yeah. Check it out. Make sure you mention Two Balls and a Mic, get yourself a discount. And pleasure, as always, Dave. Thank you. Go Fins, dude.
Yeah, fins up, man. And appreciate you boys as always.
Appreciate it, man.